Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on really a fascinating journey into one of the most compelling, maybe enigmatic ancient texts out there, the Book of Daniel.
That's right.
You've provided us with excerpts from this really powerful source. And our mission, well, it's to unpack its rich narratives, its prophetic visions, and pull out those key insights, those surprising facts that really help you get properly informed.
It's a text that it masterfully weaves together, individual perseverance, really dramatic historical events, and some complex symbolic prophecies.
Yeah.
We'll explore how one remarkable individual navigated just immense political pressure and how his wisdom, well, it fundamentally shaped the fate of empires, all while drawing out, what's the lasting relevance for you.
Okay, let's dive right in. We'll start at the very beginning of our source material, kind of setting the scene in ancient Babylon.
hmm
So our sources open with King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon laying siege to Jerusalem. This is during the reign of King Jehoiakim. And we learn that Jehoiakim himself and valuable vessels from the temple were taken back to Babylon.
And what's truly striking here isn't just the conquest itself, though that's significant, but the meticulous instructions King Nebuchadnezzar gave to Ashpenaz, his master of eunuchs.
Right.
They weren't just grabbing any captives, you see. The king specifically sought out very particular young men from Israel.
Like a specific type.
Exactly. The text describes them as those in whom was no blemish, but well-favored and skillful in all wisdom and cunning in knowledge. Basically the best and brightest.
Physically perfect, smart, capable.
Precisely.
Yeah.
People who could be trained in the learning in the tongue of the Chaldeans for 3 years, he wanted them integrated into his court.
And among these carefully selected youths were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Now, here's where, an early test of conviction comes up. The king appointed them a daily provision of his own meat and wine, royal fare.
Yeah, good stuff.
But Daniel, as our source says, he purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself.
And this immediately presented a significant challenge for Daniel.
Yeah.
How do you uphold your deeply held convictions without putting the guy in charge of you, the eunuch, his life in jeopardy?
Tricky situation.
Very. His solution was remarkably wise, sort of strategic. He requested a 10-day trial. He proposed, let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink.
Pulse, so like vegetables, legumes.
Exactly. A simple vegetarian diet, basically.
And the outcome after those 10 days, well, the source reveals a frankly unexpected result.
Completely unexpected.
Their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. They looked better.
Yeah, healthier, more robust.
Right.
Which, led Melzar, the attendant, to just keep giving them this simple diet. It worked.
But it wasn't just physical, was it?
No, not at all. And this is crucial. Beyond the physical, the text highlights that God granted these 4 young men knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom. And specifically, Daniel received a unique understanding in all visions and dreams. This divine enablement, it isn't just a footnote, it's critical. It subtly suggests Daniel's commitment wasn't just about rule following.
It's deeper.
It seems to be a pathway to a deeper, divinely given wisdom that actually made them intellectually superior. And that's a pattern we'll see again and again in this book.
So by the end of their 3 years of training, when they finally stood before Nebuchadnezzar, they were found, and get this, 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in all his realm.
10 times. In matters of wisdom and understanding.
That's incredible. And Daniel's influence, the source notes, it extended a long time, even unto the 4th year of King Cyrus. Quite a career.
A very long and influential one, yeah.
So building on Daniel's, newfound prominence, we hit another big challenge for the Babylonian court. King Nebuchadnezzar's spirit is deeply troubled by a dream.
Yeah, so troubled he can't sleep.
Right. So he summons all his wise men, magicians, astrologers, sorcerers, and the Chaldeans.
Who were like a specific class of learned astrologers and diviners in Babylon. The experts.
The go-to guys. And he demands not only the interpretation of the dream, but he wants them to tell him what the dream itself was.
Because he'd forgotten it. It had gone from him, as the text says.
Which is, that's an impossible demand, surely.
Absolutely impossible for any human. And the Chaldeans themselves rightly pointed this out. They basically said, look, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter except the gods.
But the king wasn't having it.
No, not at all. He accused them of stalling, trying to buy time. And he threatened them with, severe penalties. We're talking dismemberment, their homes reduced to rubble, a dunghill.
Ouch. But if they succeeded.
Then gifts and rewards and great honor, high stakes.
So in his fury, the king commanded the destruction of all the wise men of Babylon, a sweeping decree.
Which of course included Daniel and his companions. They were lumped in with the rest.
So now it's a life or death crisis for them too. How does Daniel handle this?
Well, he approaches Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, with remarkable counsel and wisdom. Calmly.
He doesn't panic.
Doesn't seem to. He calmly asks why the decree is so hasty, why the rush. And then, with incredible poise, he requests time from the king. He says, give me time and I'll show the interpretation.
Gutsy move.
Very.
And he gets the time.
He does. Upon receiving that crucial time, Daniel goes straight home, tells his friends, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
The same guys from the diet test.
The very same. And they collectively pray. They appeal to God for mercy, for help with this secret. And just as our source describes, the secret was revealed unto Daniel in a night vision.
Wow. Just like that.
Just like that. So Daniel, filled with, praise and gratitude, goes to the king. But first, he makes a crucial point.
Which is?
He declares that no human wise men, none of the magicians or astrologers can reveal such mysteries. Instead, there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets.
He gives the credit to God.
Entirely. He clarifies, this isn't because I'm smarter than anyone else, but it's so you, O king, might understand your own thoughts, understand this dream that's troubling you.
Okay, so spill the beans. What did the king dream?
Right. The dream itself. He saw a great image, a huge, colossal statue.
Made of different materials.
Exactly. A head of fine gold, breast and arms of silver, belly and thighs of brass, legs of iron.
Okay.
And feet, partly iron and partly clay. A mixture.
Iron and clay, that doesn't sound very stable.
Precisely. And the dream concluded with a stone described as cut out without hands, meaning not by human effort.
Right.
This stone strikes the image on his feet, those unstable iron and clay feet, and the whole thing shatters, crumbles into tiny pieces like chaff, which the wind just carries away.
Gone.
Vanished. And the stone itself then grew into a great mountain and filled the whole earth.
Wow, that's quite a visual. So the interpretation.
Daniel's interpretation is just as powerful and specific. The head of gold, he says, represents Nebuchadnezzar himself and his glorious Babylonian kingdom granted power by God.
Okay, makes sense.
After him, another kingdom inferior, symbolized by the silver, usually interpreted as the Medo-Persian Empire.
Right.
Then a third kingdom of brass, destined to rule over all the earth, generally seen as Greece under Alexander the Great.
Following the pattern.
Then the fourth kingdom, strong as iron, breaking and subduing everything, often understood as the Roman Empire.
And the feet. The iron and clay mix?
That signifies a divided kingdom, partly strong like iron, partly fragile or brittle like clay. It suggests internal division, maybe attempts to mingle with the seed of men, perhaps through alliances or marriages. But ultimately, they won't cleave together. They won't hold.
A fractured ending for these earthly kingdoms, but what about the stone? That seems key.
It is absolutely the pivotal element. Our source explains that in the days of those later kings, represented by the feet and toes, the God of heaven shall set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed.
Never destroyed.
Never. This kingdom would consume all those other kingdoms, and it would endure forever. So this interpretation isn't just, identifying future empire.
No, it's making a bigger point.
Exactly. It offers this profound insight into the transient nature of all human power. It asserts that even the mightiest earthly kingdoms, they're ultimately finite. They're subservient to an eternal, overarching divine plan.
So how does Nebuchadnezzar take this news?
His reaction is profound and immediate. He falls on his face, worships Daniel, which is a bit much, but shows his awe.
Understandable, maybe.
Perhaps. And he declares, of a truth it is, that your God is God of gods and a Lord of kings and a revealer of secrets. He gets it.
And he rewards Daniel?
Big time. He promotes Daniel, makes him ruler over the province of Babylon and chief over all the wise men.
Wow.
And Daniel, showing his loyalty, requests that his companions, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, be placed over the affairs of the province alongside him.
Spreading the responsibility. Okay, so Daniel's integrity saved them all there. But Nebuchadnezzar's understanding of God, it seems like it's about to be tested again, right?
Oh, absolutely. A much bigger test is coming. Our source recounts him commissioning this colossal golden image.
The statue in Dura.
That's the one. 60 cubits high, 6 cubits wide. That's roughly 90 feet tall and 9 feet wide. Huge.
Just massive. And he sets it up in the plain of Dura.
And then issues a decree. at the sound of all kinds of musical instruments, horns, flutes, harps, the whole orchestra, everyone was to fall down and worship the golden image.
And if they didn't?
The penalty was swift and brutal, immediate casting into the midst of a burning fiery furnace.
No messing around.
Not at all. And the text says the decree was obeyed by all the people, the nations, and the languages. Except
Daniel's friends. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Exactly. Certain Chaldeans may be jealous of their promotion after the dream incident.
Office politics even then.
Seems like it. They specifically accused Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the very men Nebuchadnezzar had promoted, of ignoring the king's command, not serving his gods, not worshiping the image.
So Nebuchadnezzar finds out. How does he react?
Predictably, with rage, he confronts them directly, gives them one last chance, basically says, okay, maybe you didn't hear the music clearly. When it plays again, bow down.
And he adds that challenge.
He does, dramatically challenging them. Who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? A direct challenge to their faith.
So what do they say? This is the moment of truth.
It really is. And what's truly remarkable here is their calm, unwavering response. They tell the king essentially, we don't even need to think about how to answer you on this.
Wow, bold.
Incredibly bold. They declare, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. They state their faith in God's power.
But then they add something crucial, don't they?
Yes. But if not, even if God doesn't save us physically, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up.
So their obedience isn't conditional on being rescued.
Exactly. Their conviction stands regardless of the outcome. It's this powerful demonstration of faith in the face of absolute power, a refusal to compromise their core beliefs, even with death literally staring them down.
How does the king take that?
He is now full of fury. His face changes. He commands the furnace to be heated 7 times more than it was wont to be heated.
7 times hotter? I mean, how much hotter can you make a furnace?
It's clearly hyperbole to emphasize just how incredibly hot, unimaginably hot he wanted it. And the most mighty men in his army bind the 3 men and just toss them in.
And the heat. It's lethal even for the executioners.
That's what the text says. The flames were so intense they slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Just getting close was deadly.
But then Nebuchadnezzar looks in.
Yes, and he's utterly astounded. Completely astounded, shocked. He asks his counselors, almost confused, did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire?
And they confirm, yes, king.
And then he declares, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Or, like a son of the gods, depending on translation, a divine being.
4 men, loose, unharmed.
Exactly. He calls them out. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego come out, and they emerge completely unharmed.
And the text really emphasizes this miracle.
It does. Upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their heads singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them, not even a hint of smoke.
Incredible. What's the impact on Nebuchadnezzar this time?
Once again, transformative. He blesses their God. He acknowledges God sent his angel to deliver his servants who trusted in him.
And another decree follows.
Yes, a new decree throughout his kingdom. Now, instead of demanding worship of his statue, he states that any people, nation, or language speaking anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces.
Whoa.
Because, he says, there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. He recognizes the unique power of their God. And of course, this leads to the further promotion of the 3 men.
It seems Nebuchadnezzar's learning, but maybe slowly. He keeps getting these incredible proofs.
He does, and the next section shows perhaps the deepest lesson he had to learn. Our source describes Nebuchadnezzar himself, addressing all people, nations, and languages, testifying personally.
Testifying about what?
About the signs and wonders that the high God hath wrought toward me. He recounts another dream that troubled him, one his wise men again couldn't interpret, leading him back to Daniel.
Another dream. What was this one about?
This dream featured a massive, towering tree, reaching to heaven, visible to the end of all the earth, providing food and shelter for everything, all living creatures, a symbol of his own great power and reach.
Okay, so far so good for him.
Well, then a watcher and a holy one, a divine messenger, comes down from heaven.
Oh.
Yeah, and commands the tree to be cut down. Branches scattered, fruit removed, total destruction, almost.
Almost.
Because the stump of his roots was to be left in the earth, but bound with iron and brass, left out in the field, wet with dew.
So Preserved but restrained.
Exactly. And crucially, the decree says the tree's heart be changed from man's, and a beast's heart be given unto him, and let 7 times pass over him.
A beast's heart for 7 times. What does that mean?
It signifies a period of madness, of living like an animal, and the stated purpose of this humbling experience, that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basest of men. A lesson in sovereignty.
So Daniel has to interpret this for the king. How does he react?
Daniel is visibly troubled, the text says. He's disturbed for the king's sake, but he interprets it directly.
The tree is Nebuchadnezzar.
Yes. The mighty tree is Nebuchadnezzar himself, whose greatness has reached to heaven. The decree means he will be driven from men, he'll dwell with wild animals, eat grass as oxen until 7 times, probably 7 years, pass over him.
A severe humbling.
Extremely severe, until he finally acknowledges that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. But there's hope. The stump being left signifies his kingdom would be sure unto thee, restored to him after he learns that lesson. After that, thou shalt have known that the heavens do rule.
Does Daniel offer any advice?
He does. He gives heartfelt counsel. Break off thy sins by righteousness and thine iniquities by showing mercy to the poor. Basically, repent. Change your ways. Maybe you can avert this.
Does the king listen?
Well, here's a truly chilling detail from our source. Exactly at the end of 12 months, so a full year later.
He had time to change.
It did. But as Nebuchadnezzar walked in his palace, boasting, "Is not this great Babylon that I have built by the might of my power and for the honor of my majesty?" Sound familiar?
Your pride again.
Big time. And while the words were still in his mouth, a voice from heaven declared his kingdom had departed from him.
Just like that. Instant judgment.
The same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar. He was driven from men, ate grass like oxen, body wet with dew, hair grew like eagle's feathers, nails like bird's claws. It's a stark, disturbing image of complete dethronement, dehumanization.
Wow. But that's not the end of his story, is it?
No, crucially it's not. The narrative highlights the outcome. At the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up mine eyes unto heaven, and mine understanding returned unto me.
His sanity returns.
Yes. At his first act, he blessed and honored God, declaring his everlasting dominion and his absolute rule over heaven and earth. His reason and honor were restored. He was reestablished in his kingdom, more glorious than before, praising God, who is able to abase those who walk in pride.
So he finally learned the lesson.
It seems so. A fundamental principle. True power, true understanding comes from recognizing something, someone, greater than oneself.
A powerful arc for Nebuchadnezzar. But the story shifts then, doesn't it, to a different king?
It does. Our source has transitioned to Belshazzar. He's referred to as Nebuchadnezzar's son or father, depending on the translation, but really means successor or royal descendant in the context of the kingdom.
Okay, so Belshazzar's in charge now. What does he do?
He holds a great feast, a huge party, and in an act of, well, profound disrespect, maybe arrogance,
What does he do?
he commands the golden and silver vessels, the ones taken from the temple in Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar, to be brought out.
The sacred vessels.
Yes. And he, his princes, his wives, his concubines, they all drink wine from them. And then, adding insult to injury, they praised the gods of gold and of silver, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone, using holy items to toast pagan gods.
That sounds like crossing a line.
A big one. And the reaction is immediate and dramatic. In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand, and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace.
Fingers. Writing on the wall. Literally.
Literally. Disembodied fingers writing on the wall. The king sees it, his face changes, knees knock together, he's terrified.
I bet. So he calls his wise men.
Immediately. Offers great rewards, scarlet clothing, gold chain, third ruler in the kingdom if they can just read and interpret the writing. But they can't. Utterly baffled.
Go panic in the palace.
Total panic. Until the queen steps in. Maybe the queen mother.
And she remembers someone.
Exactly. She reminds Belshazzar about Daniel, who in Nebuchadnezzar's time had shown an excellent spirit and knowledge and understanding, interpreting of dreams and dissolving of doubts. She says, essentially, call Daniel. He could figure this out.
So Daniel's brought in again. Does Belshazzar offer him the rewards?
He does. Same deal. Scarlet, gold chain, third ruler. But Daniel's reply sets this powerful contrast with the other guys.
What does he say?
He says, let thy gifts be to thyself, and give thy reward to another. Yet I will read the writing unto the king, and make known to him the interpretation. He's not in for the prizes.
Just the truth.
Just the truth. But before he interprets, he He delivers this powerful, unvarnished rebuke.
He chews out the king.
Pretty much. He reminds Belshazzar pointedly about his predecessor, Nebuchadnezzar, how God gave him the kingdom, how he became proud, how he was humbled like a beast, and how his understanding returned only when he acknowledged God.
Laying the groundwork.
Exactly. And then he says, "And thou his son, O Belshazzar, hast not humbled thine heart, though thou knewest all this." You knew the story, but hast lifted up thyself against the Lord of heaven, desecrating his temple vessels.
Oof. Then comes the writing.
Then comes the interpretation of the words. Min, tekel, upharsin, or pairs.
Okay, what do they mean?
Min.
Daniel says, God hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Basically, your time is up, numbered and done.
Thou art weighed in the balances and art found wanting. You've been judged and you don't measure up. Found deficient. Piers, the singular form of a parson. The kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Your empire is being carved up and handed over.
Numbered, weighed, divided, stark.
Very stark.
And
Incredibly direct.
the fulfillment. Does it happen quickly?
Chillingly fast. Our source states, in that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain, and Darius the Median took the kingdom.
That very night.
That very night. The immediate fulfillment is incredibly striking. It powerfully underscores the swift consequences of that kind of hubris and blatant disrespect towards divine power.
So Babylon falls, and now Darius the Mede is ruling. What happens to Daniel?
Well, with Darius the Mede now in charge, Daniel's exceptional ability, his excellent spirit, shines through yet again. Darius sets up a new administration, 120 princes over the kingdom.
Okay.
And over them, 3 presidents or high officials, and Daniel is appointed as the first, the chief among them.
Top job again?
Yes, he was preferred above the presidents and princes because an excellent spirit was in him. So much so that the king was actually considering setting him over the whole realm.
Making him like a prime minister. That must have ruffled some feathers. Oh, absolutely. Predictably, it caused immense resentment among the other presidents and princes. They sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, looking for corruption, mismanagement.
But they couldn't find anything.
Nothing. They could find none occasion nor fault. For as much as he was faithful, his record was spotless.
So they changed tactics.
They do. Their conclusion was telling. We shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God.
Attack his faith, because his work is impeccable.
Precisely. It highlights the depth of Daniel's integrity. His only perceived vulnerability was his unwavering faithfulness to his God.
So what's their plan?
These presidents and princes conspire. They go to King Darius with this deceptive plan, flattering him. They propose a royal statute, an irrevocable decree.
Which says,
for 30 days, no one in the entire kingdom should ask a petition of any god or man, save of thee, O king. Only pray to Darius.
wow, appealing to his ego.
Big time. And the penalty for breaking this temporary law, being cast into the den of lions.
The lion's den.
Yes. And they urge the king to sign it, making it official, invoking the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Once signed, it can't be changed, not even by the king himself.
And Darius signs it.
He does. Perhaps flattered, perhaps not realizing the trap. He signed the decree.
So how does Daniel respond when he finds out about this law targeting his prayer life?
Well, what's truly illuminating is his response when he knew that the writing was signed. He doesn't panic, he doesn't hide, he doesn't compromise.
What does he do?
He just went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God as he did aforetime.
Windows open, facing Jerusalem, same as always.
Exactly the same. He just continued his regular practice. This wasn't, an act of defiance for show, but simply a continuation of his consistent, deeply rooted faith. He wasn't going to change his relationship with God because of a human law.
So, of course, the conspirators see him.
Immediately, they were watching. They find him praying and report it straight to the king. Daniel, whom you promoted, is ignoring your decree.
How does Darius react now? He liked Daniel.
He's devastated. The text says he was sore displeased with himself. He realized he'd been tricked, manipulated into endangering his valued official. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him, trying to find a loophole.
But the law was unchangeable.
That's what the officials insisted. They reminded him, "Know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king establisheth may be changed." His hands were tied.
So Daniel has to face the lions.
He does. He's cast into the den of lions. But King Darius's last words to Daniel before the stone was placed over the den opening were actually a statement of hope, maybe faith.
What did he say?
He said, "Thy God whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee."
Interesting. Even the pagan king had some sense of Daniel's God.
It seems so. The king then spent a miserable night, fasting, refusing entertainment, unable to sleep, clearly tormented by what he'd been forced to do. Yeah.
And the next morning,
At the first light of dawn, Darius rushed to the lion's den, and he cried out anxiously, "O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lions?" You can almost hear the desperation in his voice.
and Daniel answers from the den.
He does, and Daniel's reply is calm, profound. "O king, live forever. My God hath sent his angel and hath shut the lions' mouths that they have not hurt me."
An angel shut the lions' mouths.
That's what Daniel says. He continues, "For as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt." He was innocent before God and the king.
So they get him out.
Immediately, he was taken up, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. Another powerful testament to his unwavering faith.
But what about the guys who set him up?
Here's a chilling, swift turn of justice. The king commanded that those men who had maliciously accused Daniel, along with, and this is harsh, their children and their wives, be cast into the den.
The whole families.
The whole families. And our source states grimly, the lions had the mastery of them and break all their bones in pieces or ever they came at the bottom of the den, before they even hit the ground.
Wow. Swift and brutal justice.
Indeed. And Darius, he issues another powerful decree.
What does this one say?
He writes to all peoples, nations, and languages in his vast kingdom, declaring that they should tremble and fear before the God of Daniel, for he is the living God and steadfast forever.
He's really proclaiming Daniel's God now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He delivereth and rescueth, and he worketh signs and wonders in heaven and in earth, who hath delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. This narrative powerfully reinforces those themes of divine protection, the power of faith, and the ultimate vindication of integrity against conspiracy.
Okay, so we've seen Daniel navigate these incredible political and personal challenges, influencing kings, surviving deadly plots. But the book shifts gear then, right?
It does, quite dramatically. Having explored Daniel's remarkable influence on the kings and empires of his day, our source material now shifts focus to Daniel's own personal encounters with the future.
His own visions.
Exactly. A series of profound dreams and visions that look centuries beyond his own lifetime. These were given during the reigns of Belshazzar and later Cyrus.
So what kind of things did he see?
Well, in Belshazzar's first year, Daniel saw a vision of 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another, highly symbolic.
4 beasts, like the statue dream, representing kingdoms.
Very much like that. They're generally interpreted as representing successive world empires, each with distinct characteristics.
Like a lion, it had eagle's wings, often seen as Babylon powerful, swift.
Like to a bear, raised up on one side with 3 ribs in the mouth, usually taken as the Medo-Persian Empire, perhaps indicating its dual nature or conquests. Third, like a leopard, but with 4 wings of a fowl and 4 heads. This is widely understood to symbolize the incredibly swift rise of the Greek Empire under Alexander the Great and its subsequent division into 4 kingdoms after his death.
Vast and divided, makes sense. And the 4th.
The 4th beast. It's described differently, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. It has great iron teeth. It devours, breaks things, stamps on the remains. Really destructive.
Sounds ominous.
It is. This beast also had 10 horns. And then coming up among them, another little horn emerged, which uprooted 3 of the original 10 horns. This little horn had eyes like the eyes of man and a mouth speaking great things, boastful, arrogant things.
So a powerful, destructive kingdom, internal divisions, and then a particularly arrogant leader or power emerges.
That's the common interpretation. The 4th kingdom often linked to Rome and its later divisions, with the little horn representing a significant, often persecuting, anti-God ruler or power arising from it.
And where does this vision lead?
It culminates in this amazing scene of divine judgment. Daniel sees thrones being cast down or set in place, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
The Ancient of Days, that's God.
A powerful image of God, eternal sovereign judge. His clothing white as snow, hair like pure wool, his throne like fiery flame. A scene of ultimate authority.
And what happens to the beast?
The 4th beast, the dreadful one, is judged and destroyed. Slain, its body given to the burning flame. but the dominion of the other beasts was taken away, though their lives were prolonged for a time.
Okay, judgment on the oppressive power. Then what?
Then Daniel sees something incredible. One, like the Son of Man, came with the clouds of heaven. This figure approaches the Ancient of
The
Days.
Son of Man.
Yes. And to him was given dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed.
So after the judgment of the earthly kingdoms, an eternal universal kingdom is established under this Son of Man.
Exactly. Daniel, understandably troubled by all this, asks for the interpretation. He's told, yes, the four great beasts are four kings, or kingdoms, which shall arise out of the earth.
But they won't last.
No. Ultimately, the saints of the Most High will take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
And the fourth beast gets special attention.
It does. The interpretation confirms it's a fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms and shall devour the whole earth. The 10 horns are 10 kings that arise from it.
And the little horn.
That's another king arising after the 10 who is different. He'll subdue 3 kings, speak great words against the Most High, will wear out the saints, try to change times and laws, basically a figure of intense opposition to God and his people.
But his dominion won't last either.
No. The judgment will sit, and his dominion will be taken away, consumed and destroyed. And then the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is everlasting. It's this grand sweep of history. Human empires rise and fall, often oppressively, but are ultimately replaced by God's eternal kingdom.
That's a huge vision. Does he have others like this?
Yes, in Belshazzar's 3rd year, he has another one, by the river Ulai. This time it's animals again, but different ones.
Okay, what does he see now?
He sees a ram which had 2 horns. One horn was higher than the other, and the higher one came up last. This ram was pushing powerfully westward, northward, southward. No beast could stand before it.
Powerful ram, 2 horns, Medes and Persians again.
That's exactly how Gabriel interprets it later. The ram with 2 horns represents the kings of Media and Persia, with Persia becoming dominant.
Okay, so the ram is dominant, then what?
Then, charging from the west, comes an he-goat, moving so fast its feet touch not the ground, supernaturally swift.
A goat from the west. Greece. Alexander.
Precisely. And this goat had a notable horn between his eyes, a very conspicuous large horn. This goat attacks the ram furiously, breaks its 2 horns, tramples it. Total victory.
Alexander conquering Persia.
Fits perfectly. The he-goat becomes very great. But then at the height of its power, its great horn was broken.
Alexander's early death.
Yes. And in its place, 4 notable ones, 4 horns came up, pointing towards the 4 winds of heaven.
The 4 general who divided his empire. Ptolemy Seleucus.
That's the standard historical interpretation, matching the 4 main Hellenistic kingdoms that emerged.
Okay, this is mapping onto history incredibly well. What next?
Well, here's where it gets particularly significant and maybe more controversial in interpretation. From one of those 4 horns came forth a little horn.
Another little horn. Like in the beast vision.
Yes, but this one seems distinct, though sharing some characteristics. This little horn waxed exceedingly great, grew incredibly powerful, specifically towards the south, the east, and towards the pleasant land, usually understood as Israel.
So a power arising from the Greek divisions, expanding towards Judea.
Exactly. And it gets worse. It even grew great against the host of heaven, cast down some of the host and stars, symbolic language perhaps for powers or people, and trampled them. It magnified itself even against the prince of the host, God, or perhaps the high priest, like taking away the daily sacrifice from him and casting down the place of his sanctuary, the temple. And it prospered in this wickedness.
This sounds very specific, taking away the daily sacrifice.
Extremely specific. And Daniel hears a question asked. How long will this vision concerning the daily sacrifice, the transgression that makes desolate, and the trampling of the sanctuary and host last?
And the answer?
The answer given is, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. A specific time period for this desecration followed by restoration.
So who is this little horn? Gabriel interprets this one too.
Yes. Gabriel comes to make Daniel understand the vision, stressing it refers to the time of the end, or a latter time period relative to Daniel, he confirms. Ram, Media, and Persia. Rough goat, king of Greece. Great horn, the first king, Alexander. 4 horns. 4 kingdoms that arise from his nation, but not with his power.
And the little horn from one of them.
Gabriel says that in the latter time of their kingdom, when transgressors have reached their fullness, a king of fierce countenance, understanding dark sentences, or skilled in intrigue, will arise.
Okay, tell me about this king.
He will be mighty, but significantly not by his own power. He will destroy wonderfully, cause astonishing destruction, prosper, practice deceit, destroy the mighty and the holy people. By peace, or through prosperity and false security, he shall destroy many.
Deceptive and destructive.
Very. And he will even stand up against the prince of princes, directly oppose God. But ultimately, he shall be broken without hand. Destroyed supernaturally, not by human means.
Who do historians usually see this as?
Overwhelmingly, this figure is identified with Antiochus V Epiphanes, a Seleucid king who ruled from 175 to 164 BC. He fits the description remarkably well. He called himself Epiphanes, meaning God manifest, was known for intrigue, brutally persecuted the Jews, outlawed their religious practices, stopped the daily sacrifices in the temple in Jerusalem, and set up an idol there, the abomination of desolation, mentioned elsewhere.
And the 2300 days. And the cleansing?
That timing is debated, but it broadly aligns with the period of Antiochus's persecution and the eventual Maccabean revolt, which cleansed and rededicated the temple, an event still celebrated today as Hanukkah. The historical fulfillment is quite striking.
Wow, okay, so these visions are giving Daniel this detailed look into future empires and conflicts, especially affecting his people. What else does he receive?
Well, our source then moves to a different kind of revelation. It's the first year of Darius the Mede. Daniel is studying the scriptures, specifically the prophet Jeremiah.
What does he learn from Jeremiah?
He understands from Jeremiah's writings that the desolations of Jerusalem, the period of exile, were determined to be 70 years.
The 70-year exile prophecy.
Exactly. And realizing this time might be nearing its end, Daniel responds not with presumption, but with intense prayer and fasting. He makes this deep, heartfelt confession of sin, not just his own, but on behalf of all his people, acknowledging their rebellion against God, which led to the exile. He pleads for God's mercy, for God to turn his face back towards the desolate sanctuary in Jerusalem for the Lord's sake.
So, a prayer of repentance and intercession.
A profound one. And while he is still praying, the angel Gabriel, whom he'd seen in the earlier vision, appears to him again, arriving swiftly.
What does Gabriel say this time?
Gabriel tells Daniel he has come to give him skill and understanding, because at the beginning of Daniel's prayers, a commandment went forth, and Gabriel came to show him because Daniel is greatly beloved.
Greatly beloved, that's quite an affirmation.
It is. And then Gabriel delivers another incredibly significant and much debated prophecy, the 70 weeks prophecy.
70 weeks. What's this about?
Gabriel says, 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city Jerusalem for several specific purposes.
Like what?
To finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. Basically, a period decreed to deal fully with sin and bring about God's ultimate redemptive purposes.
70 weeks. That sounds short. 490 days.
Well, it's almost universally understood, not as literal weeks of days, but as weeks of years. So 70 sets of 7 years, equaling 490 years.
Okay. A much longer time frame. How is this 490-year period broken down?
Gabriel gives a specific structure. Know, therefore, and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks.
Okay, so 7 weeks plus 62 weeks, that's 69 weeks of years, or 483 years.
From a command to rebuild Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince. Exactly. The starting point is usually linked to a decree by Persian kings like Artaxerxes allowing the rebuilding. Then, after that 69-week, 483-year period, Gabriel says, shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself?
Messiah will be cut off, killed.
That's the common interpretation, suggesting a violent death and not for himself implies a vicarious substitutionary aspect. And following this, the prophecy states that the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary.
Destroy Jerusalem and the temple after the Messiah is cut off.
Yes, often linked historically to the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans in 70 AD, led by Titus, the son, prince of the Emperor Vespasian. The prophecy continues, speaking of war, desolations, and a figure who shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week.
The final week. The 70th week.
Yes, that last 7-year period. This figure confirms a covenant for that week, but in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. He stops the temple worship. And because of the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate until a determined end is poured out on the desolator.
So, a final 7-year period involving a broken covenant and desecration. This sounds complex and heavily debated.
Extremely complex and subject to numerous interpretations regarding the timing, the identity of the figures, and whether that final week is historical or still future. But it provides this remarkable, detailed, prophetic timeline centered around the Messiah and the fate of Jerusalem.
Okay, one more major vision, right? In the time of Cyrus.
Yes, finally, we come to Daniel's last incredibly detailed vision, recorded in the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia. It follows a period where Daniel had been mourning and fasting for 3 full weeks.
Why was he mourning?
The text doesn't explicitly state why, but perhaps it was due to difficulties faced by the returning exiles in rebuilding the temple, or maybe the weight of the future conflicts revealed to him. While by the river Hiddekel, the Tigris, he has an encounter.
With Gabriel again.
Not named as Gabriel this time, but a glorious heavenly being. He sees a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Upaz, his body like beryl, face like lightning, eyes like lamps of fire, arms and feet like polished brass, and his voice like the voice of a multitude.
An awe-inspiring figure.
Absolutely, Daniel is terrified, falls on his face. The being touches him, strengthens him, and again tells Daniel he is greatly beloved.
What does this being reveal?
First, he reveals something fascinating about the spiritual battle behind earthly events. He says he was coming to Daniel, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 1 in 20 days.
The Prince of Persia. A spiritual entity opposing God's messenger.
That's the interpretation. A demonic power associated with the Persian Empire hindering the angel. But then, lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, the archangel, came to help me. This gives a glimpse into unseen spiritual warfare influencing human history.
Wow. So what message did this being finally bring?
He came to make Daniel understand what will happen to his people in the latter days. And then he unfolds this remarkably detailed prophecy of future conflicts, primarily between two recurring figures, the king of the south and the king of the north.
King of the south, king of the north, Egypt and Syria, Ptolemies and Seleucids again.
That's the predominant historical understanding. The vision provides an incredibly granular account of the back-and-forth wars, alliances, betrayals, and political maneuvering between these two Hellenistic kingdoms that constantly fought over the territory of Judea, caught in the middle.
How detailed does it get?
Amazingly detailed, it mentions. 3 more Persian kings will arise, then a 4th, very rich one, who will stir up everyone against Greece, likely Xerxes. Then a mighty Greek king, Alexander, whose kingdom will be broken and divided into 4, but not to his descendants. Then it outlines specific conflicts. The king of the south becoming strong, alliances through marriage, a king's daughter given to the king of the north, which fails, betrayals, captures of fortresses, invasions back and forth, shifting power dynamics. It reads almost like a historical chronicle written in advance.
Including specific tactics and outcomes.
Yes, things like naval power, strategic retreats, honoring gods with plunder. It also mentions the rise of a vile person who obtains the kingdom by flatteries and works deceitfully again, strongly pointing to Antiochus Epiphanes.
Does it describe his actions again?
It does, referring to him polluting the sanctuary, taking away the daily sacrifice, placing the abomination that maketh desolate. It also mentions those who forsake the covenant being corrupted by flatteries, but the people who do know their God shall be strong and do exploits, hinting at the Maccabean resistance.
It also talks about a king who exalts himself above all gods.
Yes. Later in the prophecy, it describes a powerful king, often still linked to Antiochus, or perhaps a future figure embodying similar traits, who shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, speaking marvelous things against the God of gods. He won't regard the gods of his fathers, nor the desire of women, perhaps a deity like Tammuz or maybe family ties, nor any god, but will magnify himself above all.
Honoring a different god.
He will honor the god of forces, or fortresses, a god his fathers didn't know, honoring him with gold, silver, precious stones, basically a god of military power.
And this leads to a final conflict.
Yes. The prophecy describes a final clash at the time of the end, where the king of the south will push at him and the king of the north will come against him like a whirlwind with chariots, horsemen, and many ships. This king of the north will overflow, pass through countries, including entering the glorious land, Israel. Many countries will be overthrown.
And his end.
He'll eventually plant his royal tents between the seas and the glorious holy mountain, Jerusalem, Mount Zion. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. His destruction is certain.
This whole section is just incredibly granular. It really feels like a pre-written script for history.
It's why it's called the Scripture of Truth. The level of specific detail in predicting these intricate geopolitical maneuvers, alliances, and betrayals centuries in advance is unparalleled, making it a profound testament to foresight, however one interprets the mechanisms behind it.
Wow. What an incredible, incredible deep dive into the book of Daniel. We've really journeyed through so much. Personal resolve, facing immense pressure.
Miraculous deliverance, time and again.
Yeah, the humbling of these incredibly proud rulers, and then these intricate, mind-bending prophecies spanning centuries.
And if we try to connect this to the bigger picture, the book of Daniel powerfully highlights these enduring themes. Unwavering conviction, integrity, even when it costs you everything.
The consequences of pride, that's a huge one.
Huge. And the idea of these often unseen forces, both divine and maybe spiritual opposition, at play in the rise and fall of human empires. It's just this compelling exploration of how wisdom, integrity, and faith are portrayed as fundamentally shaping destiny, both personal and national.
So, okay, bottom line, what does this all mean for you listening
hmm
right now? Beyond the, fascinating history and the prophetic insights, what really stands out is the resilience, isn't it?
Absolutely. The resilience of Daniel and his friends, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, facing these impossible demands, these life or death situations.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? When you're confronted with significant pressures, maybe not a fiery furnace, but pressures nonetheless, to compromise your core beliefs, your values, what inner resources or maybe external support do you draw upon to remain steadfast?
That's a great question. And the narrative really emphasizes that knowledge and understanding, the kind Daniel had, aren't just about acquiring facts, knowing stuff.
It's more than that.
It's about discerning deeper truths, understanding their implications, and figuring out how to navigate a world where power shifts, challenges are constant, and standing for what's right isn't always easy or popular.
Some profound things to think about there. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been fascinating.
We really hope this exploration has given you a fresh perspective, maybe a shortcut to being really well informed, and perhaps sparked some significant aha moments about one of history's most compelling figures and truly remarkable texts.